Hey everyone, here's a quick demonstration of the 3 activities in the new science for this week for Saturn's rings. And the first 2 of the activities involve this one sheet of paper here. I'll scoot it back so you can see it a little bit. And this is the page that I have printed out for, I think there's almost one for each kid, but at least there's definitely enough for each pair of students or group of 3 students in the classroom for them to share. And the first activity that they talk about in the Cornerstone Science script is just to observe this page and look at the different rings and notice that some rings are brighter, some are darker. And I realize based on the printer, you know, you can still tell that there are some darker rings in here, but definitely these 2 rings are much brighter, and that's because there's more white pieces. There's larger white spots in those rings that are reflecting the light, and that's the same in Saturn's rings, that some of the rings have larger chunks of rock that reflect the light back, and others have smaller or less. And so that the first activity is just going to be observing and discussing that phenomenon. The second activity, they're going to definitely be in pairs or small groups, and one of the students will take this piece of paper here and go to the whether you want to start up close or start far away, it doesn't really matter. But up close, you can tell that the rings are made of little chunks of white and black, and you can see those individual chunks. But if you step all the way back, you can go the other end of the room, and you can have the kids note like when they stop being able to tell the difference between the white and black pieces. But back here, you should be able to see not the individual black and white pieces on the paper, but actual rings, because at a distance they visually kind of blend together. And then so you can go like all the way back to the other side of the room and say, all right, now at what point can you start seeing the individual pieces again? And it may not be till you're actually pretty close that you can start seeing those individual black and white parts of the rings again. So the third activity has to do with how Galileo first observed Saturn's rings and noticed that they seem to disappear every now and then. And that's because as we orbit the sun and as Saturn orbits the sun, we see Saturn from different angles. And so you can use the same piece of paper for that and basically have have in the student pairs, or you do it as a tutor, either way. Notice, like when I hold this paper straight on for you, you can see the whole circle of the rings very clearly. But if I tip it, if I'm seeing it at a different angle, it doesn't look as big, and it starts looking, you know, a little bit askewed, and I don't see the rings as circular anymore. The paper looks a little shorter, and then as I tip it all the way on its edge here, see, I'm trying to get to the right angle of the camera, you really can't see very much of the rings at all, and they almost seem to disappear. The paper almost seems to disappear, and it's very thin. If you're looking at it straight on, it's very, very thin, and so it almost looks like the rings disappear. But if you're looking at it face on, you see the full circle of the rings. And so that is demonstrating what Galileo first noticed when he was observing Saturn, and that's also where you can show them. I did not print out multiple pages of this sheet, but you can show them this picture from the tutor script, that as we see Saturn at different angles, we see the rings definitely look different, just like how the paper looked different as we viewed it from different angles. So I have one copy of the tutor script for each science bin at CC there, and then also of that page of the rings, this large black page, I have enough of those for each pair of students and extras, of course, also. So those are going to be ready for you on Monday morning. And that is our new week 3. Sorry about all the last minute changes there, but at least they caught the mistake and we have some alternatives so we can present better information.